My name is Thorne. I'm 29, the youngest daughter of the Thorne family. Old money, old power, and even older secrets. My brothers were raised to inherit empires. I was raised to stay out of the way. While they became the golden heirs of Thorntech, I became the quiet anomaly, too independent, too curious, too unwilling to play the part my father scripted for me. I've spent my whole life feeling like the outsider at my own family's table, the one they glanced at only when something needed to be blamed. And yet, none of them ever suspected that the scandal that would destroy us all had been building around me for years, long before the night my father stood up, looked me in the eyes, and called me worthless. I should have walked out of that room, but instead I stayed, and everything exploded. The ballroom of the Thorne estate glowed like the cover of a luxury magazine. Gold-veined marble, crystal chandeliers the size of cars, 200 guests in black tie, sipping $800 champagne under ceilings I used to hide under as a child. And at the center, Gregory Thorne, my father, 70, tall as ever, a face carved by money, legacy, and the weight of being feared. He raised his glass, the cut crystal catching the light like a blade. "Tonight," he said, voice smooth like a silk noose, "we celebrate a lifetime. And a transition." Brendan straightened his tie. Milo smirked. Their wives leaned in, ready for the crowning moment. "To Brendan," Gregory announced, "goes the North American division. The Manhattan headquarters. All Thorntech IP licenses. And $22 million in liquidity. You earned it, son." Applause. Flashes. A nod from Senator Hartwell near the bar. Brendan's jaw clenched in smug satisfaction. "To Milo," Gregory continued, "our global expansion chief. You receive all European assets, our offshore entities, the Santa Barbara estate, and $11 million in discretionary trust." More applause. Milo blew a kiss to the crowd, raised his glass, winked. Then silence. A beat too long. And my father paused. A calculated pause. Every head turned. A heartbeat. Another. Goes nothing. A few murmurs. Then laughter. Then a clap. Then more. Louder. Applause rising like flames under my skin. My father didn't blink. She rejected the company. Rejected this family. And in turn, I reject her. My mistake was loving a child who chose failure over fortune. Let this be a lesson. Legacy is earned, not given. I didn't move. Couldn't. My fingers dug into the clutch in my hand. Someone near the back whispered, "Did she really think she'd get anything?" I turned to leave. The breath in my chest was steel and smoke. Step. Step. Marble echoing like gunfire. And a voice hissed low, urgent. A waiter. Except he wasn't. No tray. No earpiece. Just a folded envelope in his hand, trembling slightly. "This is for you." Said it was life or death. I stared. Took it. He disappeared into the crowd. The envelope was matte black. No name. Just a line in handwriting I knew too well. "He's lying. Meet me where it all started." I stepped outside. The ocean air hit sharp. Cold. Salty. Familiar. Mendocino. Where it all started. A shadow moved near the cliff edge. I didn't follow it. I opened the envelope. Inside, an old photograph. Me, age 6, standing in front of the locked vault beneath the cliff. My mother's arm around me, her necklace catching sunlight. She died 3 months later. My breath caught. I looked up. Brendan stood at the window, watching me, glass raised, smiling. They think I lost everything tonight. They don't know I make $50 million a year, off their secrets. The cliffside wind knifed through my coat as I crossed the property line into Mendocino. My boots crunched gravel and sea salt. One turn off the highway, no lights. No signals. Just pine, rock, and the roar of water waiting to swallow you. I hadn't been here since I was 14, and I swore I never would again. A chain-link gate creaked open before I even touched it. Motion sensor? No. Manual. Someone was expecting me. down the narrow path. The air was sharp with wet bark and the stink of rusted steel. My breath came shorter with each step. Not fear. Not quite. More like the edge of memory digging under skin. The vault sat at the bottom of a rock face, built into the cliff. A steel door, half covered by moss and time. No keypad. Just a retinal scanner. I stepped close. Green light blinked once. Scan complete. Access granted. Old secrets don't stay buried. They get bored. The door groaned open. And there he was. Owen Mallory. Same crooked smile. Same dark hoodie. 5 years since he disappeared off the grid. 5 years since the world declared him dead after the FTC fraud case. You've aged, he said, stepping out of the shadows. You haven't. That's what's creepy. Still charming, I see. He turned, motioning me inside. Concrete. Exposed wires. Smell of damp metal and coffee. The interior was nothing like I remembered, now lit with servers, cables, humming tech. What is this place now? I asked. He looked at me. A war room. He handed me a drive. Sleek. Cold. You're on a kill list and… My jaw locked. That's not a metaphor, is it? Nope. He dropped the file on screen. Project Kane. Gregory's little masterpiece. Financial laundering via decentralized assets. Full blockchain routing through shell charities. But that's not why you're here. He tapped a section marked Beneficiary Override, Thorntech Legacy Clauses. My name. In bold. I blinked. That's not possible. I was cut out. You were rewritten out. After your mother died. He clicked another file. My mother's name. Her signature. And a document transferring control of Thorntech's foundational IP patents. Not to my father. Not to my brothers. To me. Dated 6 months before her death. You're the rightful owner of the tech stack, Owen said. The AI systems Thorntech was built on. The patents, the base code, the model integration rights. That's why they're panicking. You're not just an heir. You're the key. My head spun. I walked away. No, you were pushed out before you could ever walk in. The walls pressed closer. I leaned forward. So why now? Why the envelope? Why night? He didn't answer. He just pointed to the security feed. A black SUV had pulled up near the tree line. No lights. No plates. 3 figures got out. Tactical gear. Shit, he muttered. They're early. Who? He didn't answer. He moved fast. Grabbed the drive, slid it into a port, began copying. We have 6 minutes before they breach. You remember the tunnel? I nodded. Go now. I'll finish the upload and follow. The lights flickered. Sparks in the corner. I grabbed my bag. Ran. The tunnel was pitch black, lined with stone and history. Every step echoed louder than the last. My mother used to bring me down here. Said it was a place that remembered. At the halfway mark, my phone buzzed. A message. No name. He's lying. He always lies. I stopped cold. Who sent that? Behind me, boom. A shockwave tore down the tunnel. Dust. Screams. Firelight licking the walls behind me. I ran. Breath in bursts. Vision narrowing. My lungs burned. My knees hit stone. Another message. Trust the liar. Lose the truth. I burst out of the exit hatch into pine and ash. The cliffside above me glowing orange now. Sirens wailing in the far distance. I turned back. Owen didn't follow. Not yet. I checked the drive in my coat. Still there. Still warm. Behind me, somewhere deeper in the woods, a second SUV engine revved. They tried to erase me from the company. Now they're erasing the evidence too. I ran until my legs stopped feeling like mine. Branches scraped my face. Blood in my mouth. Ash in my hair. The woods behind the vault weren't mapped. They weren't supposed to exist. That's why my mother brought me here, years ago. She said some places aren't hidden. They're erased. I collapsed behind a dead pine tree and forced myself to breathe through the pain. The drive was still with me, buried in my jacket. Warm. almost pulsing. It felt alive. A fox darted across the clearing. Then silence. Too much silence. I wasn't alone. Footsteps, slow, deliberate, crushed the moss behind me. I slipped the drive into my sock and turned. A figure emerged from the dark. Black coat, hood, gloves. Then the hood came down. Father Elias Carter. The last time I saw him, he was performing my mother's funeral mass. Then he vanished. No warning. No forwarding address. No goodbye. They said he had a breakdown. He looked older now. Hollowed out. But his eyes, sharp as ever. I was told you were dead, I said. I was. He knelt beside me, checked my pupils, my wrist. Who sent you? I asked. He shook his head. Wrong question. Ask why they didn't kill you at the vault. My throat tightened. He handed me a canteen. You have 6 hours. Maybe less. For what? To decide if you're a survivor or a sacrifice. I blinked. That's cryptic even for you. Your mother left a message. Buried with me. The chapel was still there. Abandoned. Boarded up. But the stained glass still held. Moonlight filtered through broken angels and cracked saints. A draft whispered through the floorboards. Elias moved like he never left. Under the altar, he pried up 3 loose stones. A metal box. Rusted shut. He opened it with a crowbar. Inside, a worn envelope. My name. My mother's handwriting. And a flash drive. I stared at him. How long have you had this? Since the day after she died. You waited 15 years? She told me to. She said when Gregory burns everything and will be the only one left standing. I opened the envelope. 1 line. If you're reading this, then they've started the fire. And you're the only one who knows where it ends. The flash drive was encrypted. Not with a password, voice lock. Elias played the audio file from his laptop. Static. Then her voice. I never trusted Sabrina. My spine snapped straight. She always smiled with her teeth. And your father kept her too close. I caught them once, whispering in the wine cellar. She stopped talking the moment she saw me. Gregory said it was business. But that night, I started making copies. Elias paused the audio. Evispered, Sabrina Hall? The CFO, he nodded. Your mentor. Not just that. She helped design the algorithm that built my platform. She's the only one besides me who knows what it can really do. Elias looked at me, his expression steel. Then she's the one who gave your name to Project Cain. My breath caught. That's not possible. She said. She said what you needed to hear. Because monsters wear trust like perfume. I pressed my fist against my ribs, as if that could steady the ache rising. No one kills for nothing, I muttered. She wanted something. Your code. My mind spun. No. Wait. Yes. The missing piece. Project Cain's laundering network didn't need money. It needed untraceable logic trees. My neural build. My AI. And Sabrina had trained me since I was 22. You know what she said to me once? I muttered. Some people build. Others erase. The only power that matters is knowing which one you are. Elias stood. Lights flickered outside the stained glass windows. More footsteps. This time boots. Coordinated. Elias yanked me toward the back of the chapel. There's a wall panel. Now. I ran with him. Behind the organ. A crack in the wood. A false back. The panel opened. We slid through just as the front doors blew inward. Voices. Radios. Metal. Tactical gear. They were here. We crept down the stone stairs. 1 flight. 2. Then my phone buzzed again. Blocked number. 1 message. The real killer wasn't your father. It was someone much closer. The stairs beneath the chapel seemed to stretch forever. Cold stone, dripping pipes, the smell of mildew curling into my lungs. Elias moved fast for someone his age. I followed, pulse punching at my ribs. Above us, boots thundered through the sanctuary. Splintering wood. Shouts. That metallic clack of weapons being chambered. They weren't sweeping the building. They were hunting. We hit the bottom landing. Elias killed the flashlight with a soft click. Why now? I whispered. Because you finally saw the part they never wanted you to see, he whispered back. Truth doesn't kill people, the people protecting it do. A door loomed ahead, steel, rusted, half collapsed. He pushed it open with his shoulder.
Cut scene.
Wind slammed into us.
Strong. Salt heavy.
The cliff opened wide beneath the night sky like a dark mouth. Below, waves tore into rock. The old cabin stood 50 yards away, swallowed by pines. My stomach tightened. This place. Yes, Elias said. Where she hid the first copy. My mother had fled here the night before she died. I never knew why. Now I did. We moved fast. Branches cracked under our boots. Shadows moved between the trees, like figures slipping in and out of existence. Someone was watching. Inside, the cabin smelled of cedar and old smoke. A single lantern sat on the table. Papers scattered. A coffee mug with dust curling inside it. Someone had been here recently. Elias lifted the floorboard by the hearth. A compartment. A weatherproof binder. He handed it to me. Midnight dossier, he said. Your mother documented everything. I opened the binder. Names. Accounts. Contracts. Offshore holdings. A diagram of Thornteca's internal power structure. Red arrows between Milo and Sabrina. Payments. Meetings.
Dates.
And then, a photo. My mother, standing outside Thorntec HQ, next to Sabrina. And Sabrina wasn't smiling like a mentor. She was staring at my mother the way predators stare at prey. My throat tightened. I trusted her. I whispered. Trust, Elias said, is the most expensive currency in the world. And the easiest to forge. Something crashed outside. Not a branch. A body. We both looked up.
Cut scene.
A phone rang, my phone. Unknown number. I answered on reflex. Who is this? A distorted voice. You shouldn't have opened the floorboard. The call ended. Then, glass shattered. A tear in the window. A bullet embedded in the wall behind my head. Down. Elias shoved me behind the wood stove. More shots.
Silenced. Quick. Precise.
Not amateurs. Light beams sliced through the trees, flashlights cutting patterns across the room. My lungs locked. One shadow stepped into view. Broad shoulders.
Tactical vest. A mask.
He spoke through a low disruptor. Take the priest. Leave the girl alive.
Alive.
Not safe. Not free. Alive for a reason. They wanted something from me. Elias grabbed my arm. Tunnel. Now. What tunnel? He pointed to the pantry, a trapdoor under rotting canned peaches. We sprinted. Another bullet hit the floor inches from my heel. I threw my weight on the trapdoor. It opened with a groan. Go. Elias pushed me down.
No. And.
Go. His voice cracked, not fear. Determination. I dropped into the tunnel.
Dirt.
Roots. Darkness swallowing me whole. The trapdoor slammed shut overhead. I crawled. Fast. Hands burning. Knees shredding. Above me, footsteps. A voice barked. Search it. She's here. Elias shouted something, then a thud. Then silence.
Cut scene.
The tunnel ended at a narrow exit behind the cabin. I shoved a board loose and rolled into wet ferns. I lay still, listening. A low growl of an engine turned over nearby. Headlights swept the tree line. Black SUV. The same model from the vault. I backed deeper into the foliage. Barely breathing. A man stepped out of the SUV. No mask this time. A face I knew.
Too well. Broad jaw.
Sharp cheekbones. A scar across the brow from when he crashed Gregory's boat at 16. Milo. My brother. He spoke into a radio.
Calm. Cold.
Clean the cabin.
Get the drive.
Bring the priest if he's breathing. My fingers dug into the dirt. He wasn't surprised I'd escaped.
He wasn't frantic.
He wasn't confused. He was in charge. Elias had been right. Monsters wear trust like perfume. And my family stank of it. Milo turned toward my hiding spot. For a second, his gaze skimmed the trees. Almost like he could smell me.
Find her, he said.
She's the only loose thread. My heart slammed against bone. If Milo's part of this, then the whole family wants me dead. I waited until Milo's SUV disappeared down the ridge road before I moved. Cold had sunk into my bones, but adrenaline numbed the sting. I crawled out from the ferns, slow, deliberate, every sound sharpened like it might cut. Elias was gone. Dragged out? Alive? I didn't have time to bleed over it. I slipped the binder, Midnight Dossier, into my backpack, double-checked the flash drive in my sock, and took the long trail through the woods. No car. No phone signal. Just instinct and the staccato rhythm of boots moving toward a war. Trust no one. That's what my mother said. And now I knew why.
Cut scene.
I made it to an abandoned ranger outpost by dawn, satellite dish still intact. I bypassed the panel, rerouted the backup battery, and booted up the terminal.
Owen taught me that.
Back when he was mine. Before he vanished. The connection held. I encrypted the line, uploaded the contents of the flash to a secure cloud, and rerouted a mirror file to a hidden burner address. Paranoia saves lives. Then I opened the next document in the binder. And the world tilted. A full ledger.
Wire transfers.
17 shell accounts. All connected to Brendan. My perfect brother. My father's favorite. Each payment was tied to a consulting firm owned by Sabrina Hale. I stared at the numbers. Each month, like clockwork. One of the entries had a note. Q3 asset liquidation scheduled post-mother's will. They didn't just bury my mother. They timed her death like a quarterly report. I leaned back, chest heaving. Some truths don't break you. They peel you slow, methodical, like skin from fruit.
Cut scene.
A crackle on the radio I'd tapped into. Visual confirmation. Target en route to Thorntech HQ. Repeat, and Thorn heading to corporate tower.
What?
I froze. My burner was secure. My route had been off-grid. Unless. I reached into my coat pocket.
Hot dog. Small. Cold.
They slipped a tracker into the envelope at the gala. Distract with the photograph. Insert the device. Classic misdirection. I crushed it under my boot. Too late.
Cut scene.
I knew where I had to go. Not away. Forward. If they expected me to run, I'd do the opposite. You can't rewrite history unless you're standing in the middle of the fire. Downtown San Francisco shimmered like a polished lie. Glass, gold, and a skyline made of smoke and ego. Thorntech Tower loomed like a blade. Reflective windows, private elevators, rooftop helipad. I entered through the parking garage. No security sweep. No alerts. That told me two things. They knew I was coming.
And they wanted me to. Cut scene.
The executive floor was silent. Too silent. I rode the elevator alone. Level 87.
My palms sweated.
My spine buzzed. The doors opened. Brendan stood waiting. Gray suit. Cufflinks with a family crest. A glass of scotch in one hand. A thumb drive in the other. Behind him, Sabrina Hale. Red lipstick. Immaculate. Cold eyes that never blinked. I stepped in. You've been busy, Brendan said. No busier than you. I threw the binder on the table between us. His jaw didn't move, but his grip on the glass did. Sabrina didn't flinch. You shouldn't be here, and she said, you're not part of this company. I smiled. Neither is murder. Brendan stepped forward. We tried to keep you out of it. You chose blood. No, I said. You chose numbers over blood. You cashed out our mother like a stock option. Silence. Then Sabrina spoke. She was going to destroy us. She trusted you. She underestimated me. I looked at Brendan. Are you going to let her speak for you too? He didn't answer. Because he didn't have to. A screen flickered on behind them. Live feed from the vault. Elias.
Bound.
Bloody. Hooked to a chair. Sabrina pressed a remote. The screen zoomed in. "Give us the code," she said. "The one your mother embedded in the AI. We know it's voice-locked." I didn't move. "You still think this is about the company," I said. "But it's never been about power." Sabrina arched a brow. "It's about inheritance." Brendan reached into his coat. I stepped back. His hand emerged with a key. He tossed it on the table. "To the server room. You want the truth? Go ahead. See what legacy looks like when it's stripped of fantasy."
Cut scene.
I took the key. Walked out. The cameras followed. And I felt it again, that itch between the shoulder blades. I wasn't being watched. I was being followed. If Owen switched sides, then the final blow is coming from someone even closer. The server room was cold. Quiet like a tomb. Red and green indicator lights blinked in rhythm, like a machine breathing. I inserted the key. The glass wall slid open. The servers hummed louder. This was it. The heart of Thorntech. The legacy they'd kill for. My mother's voice played overhead.
Digitized.
"Fragile. If you're hearing this, it means Brendan opened the vault. Not you." Static. "But, Anne, if it's you, then I was right to trust the only one who never chased power." I couldn't breathe. The AI interface came alive. Biometric scan confirmed my voice. My face. A final layer. My heartbeat. Access granted. A screen unfolded, holographic. Layered. Financials. Encrypted files. And then, a video. My mother. Hospital bed. Oxygen tube. Pale but fierce. And this is my confession.
Cut scene.
She laid it bare. Everything. Brendan and Sabrina funneled corporate funds through AMC subsidiaries. Set up offshore accounts. Used my father's name as cover. But he didn't know.
Not all of it.
They tried to forge documents that would force a merger, one that would erase Thorntech's independence and funnel military contracts to a shadow firm run by ex-intelligence operatives. The same firm that had been following me. The same one that likely had Elias. And my mother, she had compiled every detail, buried it inside the AI with voice-locked authorization. The trigger? My name. Not Brendan. Not my father.
Mine. Cut scene.
The elevator dinged. Footsteps. Gun drawn, I pressed into the side panel. Silence. Then, Sabrina entered. Alone. "Did you watch it?" she asked. I did. "No more secrets, then." She stepped forward.
No weapon.
"No threat." "I never wanted to kill her," she said. "But she wasn't going to let us win. She wasn't playing your game. She was building something bigger. Something clean. You could have walked away." She nodded. "But power doesn't beg. It takes." I raised the gun. "You're not walking out." But she smiled. "You're not pulling the trigger." And she was right. I didn't. The moment the facial recognition scanner saw her enter unauthorized, the AI had triggered the emergency protocol. Every server began to auto-backup, streamlining data to a satellite cloud and federal servers. Too late to shut it down. Brendan appeared in the doorway, his face pale. "You told her," he hissed. "I gave her a choice," Sabrina said, softly. Brendan looked at me. "You destroyed everything." "No," I said. "You did that when you sold your soul."
Cut scene.
The courtroom was silent when the video played. My mother. Her final words. Her final testimony. A truth so raw. The jury didn't blink. Brendan and Sabrina were arrested for wire fraud, racketeering, conspiracy to defraud the federal government, and obstruction of justice. The military canceled the AMC contract. Thorntech's board voted to dissolve all partnerships and name a new CEO.
Me.
I stood in my mother's garden. Alone.
No cameras. No inheritance speeches.
Just wind.
And soil.
And the sound of cicadas as the sun dipped into the horizon. I once thought legacy meant being seen. But some roots grow strongest underground. You can't measure a life in numbers. You measure it in what you protect. Elias limped out from the house. Bandaged, bruised, but smiling. They'll call you a miracle, he said.
No. Irraplia.
Just the storm they didn't see coming.
He laughed.
I glanced at the horizon, then whispered the final words my mother left in that video. Don't become them. Build something they can't touch. We walked back inside. The world still broken. But this time, I held the blueprint.